Susquehanna University's PRSSA hosted a Be a Hero Save a Life event on Wednesday, March 25th, with speakers Dr. Michael Marvin, Chief of Liver and Kidney Transplant at Geisinger Medical Center, and senior Susquehanna student Cade Hoovey, who is a transplant recipient. Beyond the talk, I held the opportunity to interview them both.
So to become a living donor, the easiest way to do that, so for Geisinger, you can just you can Google Geisinger kidney transplant. And on the website, there's a spot where you just click Be a Living Donor. And then you have to fill out a form that creates a lot of questions, that has a lot of questions. And the questions are pretty detailed because, you know, it's a lot of work to work up a donor. And it takes a lot of, you want to make sure the donor really wants to do it, that there's no pressure, and you don't want someone who sees an article or a TV ad or, you know, something and say, oh, I want to be a donor. And then they're really not committed to it. So there's a lot of questions. You can't just say, oh, I want to be a donor. And then, you know, maybe someone's not healthy enough to be a donor. They can help by bringing awareness. I mean, you know, what you're doing today, although you've had a transplant, you're making people aware of how beneficial it is, and that's how they can help. Really raising awareness. We can't do anything without donors, and we always have to say and thank the donors for what they do. I mean, you can see the results. I know, you know, I'd be very bored if we didn't have any donors.
Cade speaks about his experience and emotion as being an organ recipient.
When I came out of surgery, there wasn't really a lot of emotion for the first few days. It was just a lot of like reality, like trying to realize what actually happened. You know, a lot of doctors, a lot of tubes, IVs, everything. So I'm not really like, you know, taking everything into account. I feel like that didn't really happen until I left the hospital the first time. And the main thing for me was to see the impact that my community and my family and my friends had. Because I've talked to some other people with that received, you know, or organ recipients in the past, and it doesn't really hit you until a few months later or a few weeks later. For me, it was like 2 months later. It kind of all came together and hit, and it was just this rush of emotion of obviously being thankful, realizing how close I was to, you know, not being here, a lot of gratitude for those around me, but also a lot of confusion about, you know, how am I going to live my life now? But I think for me, the biggest emotional hurdle I had to go through was when I found out who my deceased donor was.
You know, I think the emotions of being the surgeon that does it and makes a lot of the decisions that are involved in the process, it can be daunting at times. And you're not always sure you're making the right decisions. And most of the time, thankfully, it works out well. So it's an emotional roller coaster when you deal with some of these things, particularly liver transplant, but kidney transplant also, because these people are suffering. They're on dialysis. They feel terrible, and then they get a kidney, and they're amazed. And it's funny because, you know, they haven't seen urine in years, and they're so thrilled that they pee. You know, it's very emotional for the families.
When asked, what is one part of your talk tonight that you would like the audience to hear, both speakers had a response.
I just want people to know that it works. You know, and Dr. Marvin will probably say the same thing, but it's from, you know, a different point of view. For me, it worked. I'm a part of a community of people who it has worked. A lot of people who I keep in contact with on a weekly basis that are, you know, went through very similar things to me. And yeah, I just trust in modern science and trust in the people who have these positions of surgeons and transplant teams.
I think the most important thing, that other than trying to, you know, signing up, is just to thank the donors, donor families. They're what allows us to do what we do. They save lives every day. And the donor families get a benefit of knowing some solace in knowing that something good, something amazing came out of something tragic.
PRSSA hosts this week-long campaign and hope to raise awareness about the importance of organ donation and to encourage all to register as an organ donor. Sign up to be a hero at www.donorsone.org. This was Kyler Saylor reporting for WQSU. Be a hero, save a life.